Smaller companies in the life sciences industry have seen their valuations compress over the last few years, despite the advance of their science. We speak with Ligand Pharmaceuticals CEO Todd Davis to hear his perspective on the opportunity for royalty aggregators in this environment.
Another thing that has been pretty apparent over the last few years and since COVID ended is just, the biotech winter. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but, we've had a few years of difficulty in, funding some of these smaller companies. And in my point of view, I feel like the science has really advanced quite a bit, but the funding and kind of the market prices of many of the smaller companies, which is where I focus, has kind of gone down. So there's been a divergence, which is great for companies like Ligand because it means that the value for you as an investor is dramatically better than it was before. So, a couple questions for you on that, given your perspective and position. What kind of opportunities are there right now, and how much capital is there ready to jump in? And I guess the third question would be is, what is the catalyst that's going to drive that change if there is a lot of capital on the sidelines, which I believe there is?
Yeah. I mean, I think I think the biotech financing market is a little bit broken because most of the biotech, stock fortunes rely upon a small group of specialist funds that trade amongst each other, really. It's not a deep market, and there are a lot of haves and have-nots. So I can't tell you I know exactly how it's going to play out. We're in the business of kind of turning over rocks, mostly with the have-nots, because if things are going really well and you've got
they don't need the capital,
the backing of the big blue chip funds, the BVF, RA capital, I mean, then you're doing pretty well. But there's a lot of value out there that's kind of, I think, overlooked. Sometimes the capital itself can fix the problem that exists. There are problems with these companies sometimes, but they can be fixed. And the market's not always too discreet. A lot of it, the investing is momentum oriented. So it's a good market for us. You're right. I would like to see kind of broader and deeper investment and more consistent investment in the market, but I just don't think we can count on that. Here's the good news relative to the Chinese markets, right? Because they're going through their whole financial biotech market is just developing. So what are they doing? They're coming to the U.S. market. They're bringing their molecules to the U.S. market for financing. Mm-hmm. So we, on a relative basis, we have a very good financing market for these types of things. But it is really challenging for some of the small companies that we think have good ideas. And it's a big consideration for us, John, because when we invest in a company, even if they have a good management team and a good asset, and we think our capital gets them through a good inflection point, we need them to be financially strong beyond that inflection point.
Yeah.
So that's part of our.
We still need to commercialize and have sales, right?
Yeah. We kind of have to handicap our investments accordingly, and try to estimate their access to capital beyond ours. That's an important consideration we're making in all of the deals that we do.